Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hi, and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Cindy Murray, and I am here with my co-hosts, Amber and Kristen.
Hello.
Hey.
And we're glad to have you back if you're rejoining us. If you're new to this podcast, we are three women who have a lot of conversations about a lot of different things. And we hope that there's at least one or two things that you might be interested in. So stick around. Today, we're having another one of our kind of lighter topics. I like to call them fluff, because sometimes we have some pretty deep conversations about, like really serious subjects, in life. And so we like to lighten things up a little bit with some fun content or just, sharing. It's really kind of a lot like you talk to your girlfriends and you're sitting there talking and you say, I like to do this or I like to do that. And you talk about why. And, we do those things. We like to talk about those kind of things. So today's topic is Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper.
There can be only one.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There can be only one.
If you're my mother.
Yes. So I think the topic is, like my idea, I think there are Coke lovers, there are Pepsi lovers, there are Dr. Pepper lovers, and then there's just soda lovers.
The look on your face when you said that.
It's so
soda lovers.
I know. It's like
she doesn't understand those people.
I don't understand those people. I don't.
Why do you have to affiliate with one?
Because it tastes the best.
Yeah. I know which one you're going to say, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, well, I'm just going to say it. I am a Coke drinker. I've always been a Coke drinker. When I've gone to like visit family in different places where the drink of choice is Pepsi or whatever, I'm like, I can't do this, and I will go find some other, like when I was a kid, we would go to Oklahoma and to stay with my aunt and for the summer or whatever, and we would go and every place had Pepsi, nobody had Coke, and I was so lost, so I started drinking Mountain Dew because it was better than drinking Pepsi. So I mean, right. So it's just kind of a weird thing. I'm addicted to my Cokes. In fact, I'm so addicted to them that when I found out I was diabetic, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do a sugar-free Coke. But luckily for me, they came out with Coke Zero not too long before that, and it was all right. And so I found a way to drink it and get my Coke fix every day. So, but as everyone knows, I like my Cokes. I like my Sonic Cokes especially, and I will often go to Sonic just to get a Coke and bring it home and drink on it. So, do you guys have a preference? I know there are a lot of people who don't have a preference, and I know there are a lot of people who are very specific. I have a friend who does Dr. Pepper, but it can only be the Dr. Pepper that's made with real sugar. Mm-hmm. Or else she drinks Coca-Colas from Mexico because they are made with real sugar as well. And she will not drink any of the drinks that have the high fructose corn syrup in them. Not because she doesn't like the high fructose corn syrup, but because it makes it taste different, which it does. Mm-hmm. And so she doesn't like the taste of it. She likes the taste of the Mexican Cokes, and she likes the taste of the pure sugar Dr. Peppers. And that's what she sticks to. My dad was a Pepsi drinker my whole life. Don't know where that came from, but he liked his Pepsi. My mom liked her Diet Dr. Pepper, and then years later she liked her Diet Coke. But caffeine free Diet Coke. Yes, yes, she was very specific about that too. So I mean, I know a lot of people who are very specific. When new Coke came out, my roommate and I went to the store and bought as many of the classic Coke, the old Coke, as we could. We stocked up because that new Coke was hideous. And it didn't taste anything like Coca-Cola. And so we stocked it up.
Why did they do that?
That was during the Coca-Cola and Pepsi wars.
Well, I think it was a marketing move. I really do. They wanted to test and see if the Pepsi drinkers would drink Coke, which no, they're not. And what it did was it turned away the Coke drinkers. But I think also it was a move. I think they knew that they were going to bring back the old Coke all along, but they put that new Coke out there hoping that they could attract those.
Like remember when they said they were going to stop making Coke Zero?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then people flipped out and bought
all the Coke
Zero,
Zeros.
and then
Yeah.
they came out with just a new package.
Yeah.
They changed the color
Yeah.
of the can.
So it creates demand. They created demand for the old Coke. And then when they came back out with it, they called it Coke Classic, right?
Coca-Cola,
So they
yeah.
remarketed it as Coke Classic. But then you notice a few years after that, the new Coke was completely gone. All that remained was the original Coke, and they dropped the classic part of it. It just became Coca-Cola again.
Did you know it actually wasn't discontinued until 2002, but I don't ever remember seeing it in the store.
Well, and it
ever.
may have been, a northern thing where like Pepsi, more people
Maybe.
in the north drink Pepsi than the south tend to drink Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola came from Atlanta. It came from the south. So a lot of
Same
people
with
in the
Dr. Pepper
Right,
came
Dr.
from
Pe-
Texas.
Yeah. And so a lot of people down here drink Dr. Pepper and Coca-Cola, whereas Pepsi, you go up to like Wisconsin and Minnesota and some of those places, Pepsi is by far more popular. But also, if you notice, the Diet Coke that is out there is the formula for the new Coke. It tastes like the new Coke, except it's got aspartame in it instead of sugar. Or,
it tastes kind of closer to Pepsi now.
yeah, it does. It tastes a lot more like Pepsi. So it was formulated on that recipe of the new Coke. And so when they came out with Coca-Cola Zero, which is now called Zero Sugar Coca-Cola, they formulated it based on the classic old Coke. So that's why there's two different sugar-free Coca-Cola products. One is formulated after the new Coke, and one is formulated because
Right.
people
people would lose their lids if you took Diet Coke away.
right. And the
Oh,
same
man.
thing for the Coke Zero, because the Coke Zero people are the people who want to drink regular Coke but can't. So, and that, like me. And so, yeah, if I couldn't drink regular Coke, or if I couldn't drink Coke Zero, I would probably just go back to drinking regular Coke.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I go into a restaurant that only has Coke and Diet Coke, I'll get like half and half so I can cover up the taste of the Diet Coke. So I'm just having fewer calories with the regular
Less
Coke.
sugar, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't really care for Dr. Pepper. I don't like Pepsi. And I really don't like any of the other and like Sprite and 7-Up and things like that. They very seldom ever serve the diet versions of those. So just
Right.
because they can't have that much variety.
So one of my things is I prefer the brown sodas. And although I do prefer Coca-Cola, I would say my next would be Dr. Pepper, and then after that Pepsi. I only want Pepsi when I want Pepsi because it's very specific. And I personally only like the wild cherry Pepsi.
Okay.
But yeah, because Pepsi is just like, wow, you taste it and you're like, that's Pepsi.
It's very different, and that's what always surprises me about the Coke and Pepsi and places only offering one or the other.
Right, that's what I was about to say. That is the
They're
one thing.
totally different.
Yeah.
They're totally. It's like having Coke and Dr. Pepper. They're completely different.
Yeah. So I found like if we go somewhere and I'm getting like a soda beverage and they don't have Coca-Cola, I will look to see if they have Diet Dr. Pepper. Because I would rather drink a Diet Dr. Pepper than a Pepsi or a Diet Pepsi. So I'm just like, just give me a Diet Dr. Pepper because I don't want to do the Pepsi. Like I especially don't like the fountain Pepsis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're even more funky tasting to me. And I wonder if that's the same like all over the US too, if other people find that dilemma, like you pull up to Taco Bell and you're like, ugh, I gotta have Pepsi with my tacos.
Well, and
Ugh.
this is the weird thing too, because, and I think it's maybe a franchise issue or whatever, but I know growing up in Lubbock, Texas, the Taco Bells there had Coca-Colas, not Pepsi. But Taco Bell was, at least at one point in time, I believe, owned by PepsiCo, the franchise itself. So, it's weird. It was weird to me to come out here and have them only have Pepsi.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I don't
mean,
know.
if I owned them, I'd only serve what I have too. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if I owned them, I would offer both if you
No,
could.
I wouldn't.
Why?
Why? If you own Pepsi and you own
No.
Taco Bell,
You'd have to, like,
I'm
pay
talking about
extra to-
no. I'm talking about the franchise owners, not Pepsi and Coke and Taco Bell. I'm talking about.
franchise owners don't get that choice. All
Yeah,
the
they
time.
do. Some of them do. Yeah.
Okay, when I worked at a franchise restaurant, our owner didn't even get to pick the stuff they ordered. It was automatically
Well-
ordered based on what was sold. It was
Right.
just done for them, so there
Right.
was no choice. You didn't.
Well, and that depends on the company that you franchise with,
Yeah.
because there are franchises where they offer.
But-
There's a lot of franchises where they offer more than what's on the standard
if I was
menu.
a soda
and-
company that owned a food restaurant, I would make sure only my sodas were sold in that restaurant.
well, then how did they do that in Lubbock, Texas?
Or maybe they weren't owned by Pepsi there
I don't know.
at that point.
Maybe
I don't
not.
know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I know it's annoying because you want to have your favorite drink at your restaurant whenever you go out to eat, and that does kind of suck. I don't really get to drink sodas that much anymore because I'm really not supposed to
Right.
with the bariatric surgery. So every once in a while, I drink them from the fountain because they get flat really fast.
I
Amber never has sodas
nope.
anymore.
I kicked it in 2019, and even then, I very rarely drank soda. I actually stopped drinking sugary soda when I was 18.
Uh-huh.
And so, that like you were talking about, like the Diet Coke and everything like that kind of takes the fun out of soda. The only real thing that I could really stand was like Diet Cherry 7 Up or Diet Sprite. But,
Where there's a flavor that covers up the yeah.
That's really like the
Well, that's what I do with my Coke Zeros. So
Yeah.
I put a lemon in it because it covers up the taste of the aspartame or whatever. So
Yeah, I really never was a fan of the aspartame. So, but I had made like a conscious decision my senior year in high school that I was going to stop drinking sugary sodas. And so if after that I was to have to drink a diet soda if I was going to drink it, and I wasn't really a huge fan of the taste of diet soda, and Coke Zero wasn't a thing back then. So I just kind of phased it out of my life to only like an occasional special occasion type thing. And when that happened, it was usually Diet Coke if I drank anything at all.
yeah, I don't. I've always drank Cokes. My mom worked at a place where she had access to buy the cases of the little Cokes in the bottle, the little 6-ounce Cokes in the bottles, the glass bottles. And so she would buy a case of those like every week for the whole family to drink out of, or whatever. And so we always had access to Cokes. And in fact, I think my dad actually drank Coke back then, not Pepsi. I don't know when he switched to the Pepsi, but we drank those. And then in later years, it was the quart glass bottles, before they had the 2 liters and the plastic bottles and stuff. And so she would buy like a 6-pack of those quart bottles, and it would be like each of us kids got one of those bottles for the whole week. That was all we had, which now in retrospect, I think that's a lot of Coke for kids. I wouldn't give Raina a whole quart of Coke to drink all week
Right.
long. maybe one Coke a week or whatever, but
I mean, yeah, it is a lot. Like, it's a lot to think about.
yeah, that's sugar, but
But at the same time, same thing. When I grew up, we had Kool-Aid. And
yeah, Kool-Aid
Yeah,
was
same.
Kool-Aid is the same thing. It's
Kool-Aid.
just not
You
carbonated.
never ever said you've had enough Kool-Aid.
I didn't because
Right.
They were like
Aid.
10 cents a package, and then it
Anything
was a
Aid.
cup of sugar.
well, and that's what I
Yeah.
grew up
Yeah.
drinking too. When I was
Hawaiian
little,
punch also.
Kool-Aid and Coca-Colas, and,
Yeah.
and my mom would always have a 2-quart jug of Kool-Aid in the fridge or
Whatever
whatever.
flavor you want. Man, we used to have like.
Oh yeah,
every
we bought
flavor.
all the flavors.
Mom would let me go and pick the flavors, and I was like, "Okay, you mean like get one of each?" I loved doing
We did.
that.
We did one of every flavor, and so you had a choice. And like you said, they're really cheap to make. They were 10 cents for the packet of Kool-Aid, and it took a cup of sugar, and and it was like it was encouraging you to drink, so you drank. So you were getting your liquids. So
Wow, things we know now.
well, I mean, when I was a kid, that's what kids drank. We drank that, so
Right.
it was cheaper than milk. My mom couldn't afford milk.
Right.
It was
And if you couldn't
milk
get
was
'em to drink-
expensive.
Yeah, and you can't get kids to drink water from
Yeah.
the tap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't even know if she thought about drinking. My mom was pretty much a kid too when I was a kid. So, she was drinking the Kool-Aid and the Cokes, and yeah,
Yeah.
and she didn't drink coffee, so she drank Coke from sun up to sun. Well, at that time, hers was Diet Dr. Pepper. She drank Diet Dr. Pepper from the time it came out until after I left high school. She was still drinking Diet Dr. Pepper at that point in time, and that was, she got up and that was her coffee in the morning, and she'd drink it till she went to bed at night.
My family was a big Coke family, and my mom, until the day she died, was like a big Coke drinker. There's even a Coke bottle on her gravestone.
She collected Coca-Cola stuff, right?
Yeah, she did. She had her goal was to open like a Coca-Cola store, and that was one of her bucket list things. We talked about bucket list last week. That was one of her bucket list things that she never did get to do, and so I still have all of her. Not all of it. I've been slowly like putting it on eBay and then selling it to people I know that collect Coca-Cola, but I still have for the most of her collection, in storage,
Yeah.
She was a big, and it sometimes pains me to see Coca-Cola things
Yeah.
because I'd see it, and in the past, when my mom was alive, I'd see it and I would buy it for her. And now I see it and I reach for it and I realize that there's nobody for me to give it to, so I put it back down.
Okay. That's
No, it's kind of sad.
I think we all have things like that. I think of things like that. My totally unrelated to Cokes, but my sister collected cows, the black and white Hereford
Yeah.
cows, and every time I see a cow, I think of her, and I think, oh, she would have loved that, So yeah, I get that. So
Yeah, I didn't mean to turn the conversation
no.
into like
No.
weird. But my mom loved Coca-Cola. Like
Yeah.
that was her. And I hated it as a kid. Honestly, I hated the taste of it. I was more of a Dr. Pepper person. I did like kind of the switch after I stopped drinking sugary drinks. I drank Diet Dr. Pepper. Tasted like absolute crap to me.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
Diet Coke I
never
could stand
understood
a
how
little
you
bit
could drink
more.
it. Yeah. Diet
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper tastes better now than it used to.
well, yeah, because they've changed the sweeteners in it.
Because, and they have Dr. Pepper Zero now. That's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. Like, everything my husband gets is zero.
Right.
He is on a quest. So you're going to talk about people who like all the flavors.
All the flavors. He likes all the flavors.
That's Travis. So he loves to have every flavor. And I'm always just like, I just want a brown soda. I'm not in the mood for a Sprite or a 7-Up or a Mountain Dew or a Squirt or a Fanta or a Purple Nurple. I just want a brown soda. And
Root beer?
preferably... Okay,
You like
so
root beer?
is actually at the bottom underneath Pepsi.
Oh, okay.
So I
Unless
only
it's
want
in ice cream.
root beer when I want a root beer.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause that one's
yeah.
very special.
Well, yeah,
tasting.
root beer with ice cream. That's,
Yeah.
you can't beat that.
So there's sometimes like
Although
I feel
Coke
like I
is
just had
better.
a root beer tasting something the other day, and I can't remember what it was. But anyways, I'm like if I want a soda, I want a brown soda.
Mm-hmm.
If I want something lime or lemony tasting, then I will say like I want a Sprite or a 7-Up. But if I want a soda, I'm not thinking of Sprite and 7. I don't know why, because they taste different to me. Like they do something
so
different.
They're more
Sprite
like to me.
or 7-Up though, because those are two completely
They
different
are
tastes.
very different.
They are.
Yes.
They are. But they are more like drinking, like these carbonated waters that you get, except that they're very, very sweet, obviously. But to me, they're closer to drinking the carbonated waters, or like the clearly Canadian, or and
yes.
things like that. Yeah. So
Well, yeah, ginger
Fresca.
ale though is completely, and Fresca is completely different.
Oh, now I
also.
love me some Fresca. I do love me some Fresca, but I love Fresca for Fresca. If I'm thinking about a soda or a soft drink, I don't think about Fresca. I think about Coke. In fact, I grew up calling it Coke.
So
Everything,
no matter
everything
what.
was a Coke. You went to the restaurant, you say, "I want a Coke."
And they ask you what flavor you
What
wanted.
flavor? Yeah, I mean that's Texas. So my I want to say my aunt who lives in Oklahoma, I think they said
Pop.
soda or soda pop. Yeah.
That's weird that Texas does that, because Dr. Pepper was born in Texas. Why don't we just call it a Dr. Pepper?
Coke was here before Dr. Pepper was. Coke is pretty old.
Yeah, 1800s.
Yeah. So so everybody, that was that was the OG soft drink, pretty much. I don't even know if it was carbonated in the early days. I'm not sure
No,
if it was.
it was
or not.
actually originally supposed to be medicine.
Oh yeah, they
Oh
treated-
yeah. And
well, and
to
it,
keep
it-
this not having to be like adult rated, we can skip over. Everyone knows what was in Coca-Cola.
right. Well, that doesn't keep it from being adult rated, but you can say what was in it. It was but it was thought to be medicinal. Yes.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and it's weird to me, but we called it Coke. We called everything Coke. Some people call it soda. Some people call it pop.
Fizzy lifting drink.
Some people call it soft drinks. And really that's the technical
Soft drink,
It's
yeah.
a soft drink. And I'm like, okay, as a soft drink as opposed to a hard drink,
Oh.
which
Oh.
would be liquor. I guess alcohol, not
what are
Alka-Seltzer.
those? I was thinking of those
Alcoholic beverages,
yeah,
like it.
the tonic waters. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
well, but they're not hard. They're not alcoholic.
when you add the alcohol,
When you
to
add the
there.
alcohol to it, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's like his quest, and he's actually like quit the sodas since he's been going to the gym. And so that's nice on our budget, but he would go every week to like wherever they were on sale, or if we weren't trying to pinch a penny, he would just go to wherever the flavors were at, because like Kroger has this flavors and Albertsons has these flavors
Right.
of Coke Zeros, and like they'll have different other like extra brands, like there's Fanta Zero and
Big
sometimes
Red
there's-
Zero.
and there's like Dr. Pepper flavored zeros, and now Pepsi has a flavor zero. So he would go around and try to get like 6 different flavors.
Oh yeah,
And I would be so disappointed when he'd come home with one brown soda and all of these like orange and 7-Ups and stuff, and I'm like, ugh, you got Pepsi? I guess I won't drink any.
Now, Ashley is another person who likes and she wants to try every time Coke comes out with a new flavor, cinnamon Coke,
Oh, the
orange
blood
Coke.
orange one was good.
Yeah, there was a few of those that were pretty good. Now, here's one that was very short-lived, one of those flavors. Did you ever try the Diet Chocolate Cherry Dr. Pepper?
Yes.
I
Oh,
loved that.
And me too.
I loved, but here's the thing, like we were talking about Sonic earlier. I remember Sonic, when Sonic first started doing like all the flavors in the drink. I was probably like middle school or early high school, and they were running a special one time where when it first started that you could get a free flavor in your drink. And I would always get a chocolate Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, it was really good. Like, chocolate and Dr. Pepper is really good.
Yeah.
And so when they came out with that cherry chocolate Dr.
That
Pepper,
was-
I was just like, yeah.
Well, and I didn't even like Diet Dr. Pepper, but that was the bomb.
That was good.
It was really
Very
good.
good.
And I don't know why they only brought out that flavor as a diet flavor.
Yeah, it was not normal.
They did not have the regular
don't
sweetened
think.
version of it, and it was only for a short while, and then it just went away. And everybody I knew that tried it,
20 years
loved it.
later, we're still talking.
We're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so good. There's also been some like ginger ale flavors, like the cranberry ginger ale, the lemon
love that
lime
one.
ginger ale, some of those, and they're really hard to find as well. Sometimes they're seasonal, but we like those. My Ashley likes to put. You're talking about putting the chocolate in the Sonic. Ashley likes to put cream in her Coke, and my dad would sometimes drink milk in his Pepsi, and I think that's a northern thing that people do. And my dad's not from the north, so I don't know where he got that from, but I guess somebody showed it to him and he decided he liked it or something. But yeah, milk in his Pepsi.
No telling.
Yeah. So what I keep hearing when you're talking about it, Kristen, you keep saying soda.
She's always done that. Like, I've always
it's
called
soda.
all soda Coke, but she's always called it soda.
Which is funny. I wonder if you got that from your dad. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I always called it Coke. So I don't know. Yeah.
It's a soda fountain.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Interesting. Well, I'd be kind of curious
Kristen's
what our
not from Texas.
Right.
she's an
never
alien.
Never
go
lived
go
here.
back up north.
She's an alien. She's an alien.
So in the 1800s, they believed carbonated water was good for the health, and that coca added to alcohol, an alcoholic drink, would cure all sorts of diseases. And it became Coca-Cola when Prohibition happened. That's when you couldn't drink it with alcohol, yeah.
Interesting.
There's your trivia for the day.
Well,
And it was first sold at 5 cents a glass.
5 cents.
5 cents.
Wow. That's crazy.
And now it's like $2 at Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, $2.70 at that
Galveston
in
one,
Galveston.
yeah.
Yeah, it was $2.70. I was like, why is it so high here when it's like just barely over $2?
Do you remember 3 liters?
Yes, I do.
When we lived in Lubbock, we had 3 liters. Like, that was the normal size for the big soda.
Yeah, yeah.
You had 1 liter or 3 liter. And then we moved out here and it was like, why are all these Cokes so small?
They're all the 2
2
liters.
liters.
Yeah, I don't
I've
like
never
it.
seen a 3
I
liter.
realized after I quit drinking them in those big bottles that they go flat.
You
really
have to
fast.
drink them really fast.
Yeah. So,
You have to
well, and
consume
back
a
then
lot of
we
soda.
did drink a lot.
A
I mean, we
lot
would
of
open
soda.
one and we'd drink through it. But I found that just doing the can, that way I can kind of regulate myself a little better too. I can do a can a day is, I mean, it's not great, obviously, but because Coke's not bad, not good for you, but it's better than drinking this whole 3-liter bottle, every day or whatever. So, but I realized that after I started drinking it that way, when I'm desperate and I can't get the cans on sale and I have to buy the bottles, it's like they go flat and it's like, ew, I don't like it that way. So, yeah.
Well, did you know that Coca-Cola was originally invented to cure morphine addiction?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
By a guy looking to cure his morphine addiction.
Wow. Let's
I
get
just thought
addicted.
that was interesting.
Well, I mean, if you think about what is that? There's another drug that's very addictive, but they give it to you. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know it. I know.
It's to help with the withdrawals of drug addiction.
And it's addictive?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not as addictive as heroin.
Like methadone?
Methadone, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they slowly wean you off of it. I guess because, I mean, I don't know that much about it, but I guess it's less dangerous than the other drugs. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like that they thought that the drinks would be good for you, or that, they used to think smoking was good for you too. Well, now we know.
And they used to think that vaping was better than smoking.
But now they know it's worse. It's actually worse than smoking. So it's very dangerous. So, yeah. I don't know.
Water. Drink water.
Drink water. Yeah.
Drink water.
Water talk. Drink
You know
water.
what? If you grow up drinking water and milk, babies drink milk, drink water, and you don't start drinking those sugary drinks, you will never miss it.
Yeah.
You will never know what
you
you're
won't
missing.
know what
So
you're
don't feed those things to your kids.
I don't miss it when I stopped drinking it. Like I see you drink a Coke and I'm just like, occasionally I'll just be like, if Jason has like a new flavor, kind of like Travis or whatever, I'll like take a sip of it and then I'll just like wrinkle my nose and say, yeah, I don't miss it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who quit drinking it, and they said after a certain amount of time you don't crave it anymore, and it tastes really bad. It's like too sweet. So
yeah, that's it's kind of like with like anything diet, especially like with the aspartame and stuff like that. Like if you wean yourself off of it and then you take a bite of it or whatever, and it's just like ugh.
Yeah. But I think the answer is to just don't start. If you've never had a Coke, don't start. Don't feed them to your kids. Don't. Then they won't. Then you don't have that problem of drinking too many or whatever. So, lesson learned. Too late for me.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious what our listeners have to say. Do you have a preference of your soft drinks? Do you avoid them altogether? What do you call them? Soda, pop, Coke, soft drink?
Peppa.
Peppa?
Peppa.
You like
Dr.
the Peppa?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to know. So give us we've got a poll, I think, don't we have a poll over on the,
Yeah.
we've got a poll over on the,
MMC chat.
yes,
Is it on-
sorry, it is. It's on MMC chat.
Like,
I
where's
was
that
like-
website?
I was like, where do we put it? Is it on her? It's not on Heard It on the podcast. It's on the MMC chat. Just go over there and answer the poll. You can fill in the comments if you have anything there. And hey, while you're at it, give us some likes, some love. Share the podcast, share the blogs, share the links, all that jazz. We need your help getting the word out and sharing us with your friends and the rest of the world. So we'd like to throw out a thanks for Creative Audio Tech and Cake Mix Studios for our music and equipment. And next week, Amber is our hostess. And what is Amber teaching?
Teaching.
She's
I'm teaching next week. We're talking about furthering your education.
Teaching.
Next week. Yeah, pretty
Literally.
much, yeah, literally.
Right. So yeah, okay, furthering your education. So that's going to be an interesting topic. And as Kristen mentioned last week, we've got lots more topics coming up in the future. We've got some laundry and mom hacks, and we also have a topic of date night ideas coming up pretty soon. So we'll be back next week, and we hope you'll join us then.
Bye.
Bye.